Good afternoon, traders. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend. I'm George Troop here to have a look at the week ahead, and we're coming off the back of a real stormer. S&P and Dow Jones hit all-time highs following really positive economic data coming out of the US. Job losses at a low since last year. Also positive corporate earnings from some of the big banks in the United States, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all exceeding expectations, as well as a few other factors really pushing things up. So it'll be interesting to see if that run can continue this week. We had the Coinbase IPO, cryptos hitting all-time highs as well. It really was fantastic stuff. This week, we've got more data, more earnings, as well as some meetings from ECB, Bank of Canada. Will we see any major policy tweaks? Retail sales in the UK as well. Don't know if you've been enjoying the pubs now that things are reopening in the UK. Pubs and shops back open. Retail sales could show some real changes there emerging from lockdowns. But first, ECB press conference on Thursday following a policy change meeting. They are unlikely to make any major changes once again this month. More interestingly will be to see how they respond to vaccine rollout pressure across Europe. There are fears that the slow pace compared with other parts of the world could be taking effect on economic growth. The minutes will reveal how the council members feel towards that, with the pandemic continuing, Germany issuing more lockdowns over the weekend. The worry is that GDP growth may come in lower than previously forecast in the next quarter as well. Will that lead to any changes to base rates? Seems unlikely, but it'll be interesting to see what they say, what kind of sentiment they're expressing, and see if that has any effect. That's Thursday for you. Other news. Bank of Canada, similar kind of statements. Are there any policy tweaks coming out? Again, chances are there'll be no major changes, but we might see some tweaks. One thing that's unlikely to change is the BOC's policy rate, pretty much frozen at 0.25% until 2023, when economic slack is absorbed. They might, however, be exploring changes to the policy frameworks, looking at average inflation targeting, maybe targeting employment and inflation together, nominal GDP targeting, lots of areas for them to explore. That'll be coming up next week, Bank of Canada policy meeting. Otherwise, closer to home for me, UK retail sales, mentioned before. The reopening took place last week with outdoor pubs, restaurants, non-essential retail shops reopening, and they're looking to ease restrictions even more in the coming months. Bracing for a bit of a boom when those April stats come in, we'll be looking at the March month-on-month retail sales. Looks like it could still be strong despite all of the challenging conditions of the months before. So that'll be an interesting one. If we just have a look, IRC has decided to compare sales data from 2019 and 2021, sort of skipping out on 2020 there, which will be interesting to compare from pre-pandemic to now pandemic easing rates. UK retail sales did increase 8.4% on a like-for-like basis from March 2019, when they had decreased 1.1% from the preceding year. So these kind of comparisons could give us some key indicators for how the economy is really doing in the UK. Those figures coming up next week. Very keen to look out on them. We'll give you updates as they come in. Then finally, Wall Street earnings season's carrying on. As reported, we had exceeding expectations results from banks such as JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and a few others. This week we'll have CocaCola, Johnson & Johnson, Intel, Netflix, and a host of others. So some tech movement there. Johnson & Johnson will be a really interesting one, given how their vaccine rollout has been suspended in the US and a number of other countries following some connections to blood clotting. Very slim. They've emphasized that it's a very cautious suspension of the rollout, but it'll be interesting to see if JnJ stocks take any effect from that, and be interesting to see what their earning reports were like for the first quarter as well. So that's pretty much it for me. We'll let you know all of those figures as they come out. Neil Wilson will be back taking over the news spots. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll be back on X-Ray with the news as it comes in. Thanks very much. I'm George Troop. Have a great day.